All right, I'm at Whole Foods Market, and this is one of my favorite hot buffets. But for a long time, I had a hard time coming here, especially during a busy hour. You see, up until 3 years ago, I had compulsive binge eating kind of problems, and I would be lined up ready to get my favorite food, and somebody would be in my way, and it would cause all sorts of trouble for me. You know, I would think about food, or I see food, and then my mouth would salivate like crazy, and it would be hard for me to turn that back. Come to think of it, as soon as my mouth salivates, there's no turning it back. I mean, either I can put up with it, or I can give in. I've never had the sensation turn backward, even to this day, although lately I've been getting better at putting it off for a few seconds. Now, there's a difference between waiting for somebody, right, and waiting for somebody for an indeterminate amount of time. The latter one is very challenging. You know, if somebody goes up to the buffet and says, give me 10 minutes, you know, there's a lot of things I need to take care of, I could probably handle that. But when he's getting some food and then it looks like he's about to finish, and then, oh my God, he's got to rearrange his food again, and then it looks like things are about to let up, and then he stands there to answer a phone call. Oh my God, that will drive me nuts. So anyway, 3 years ago, I came here and I got into an altercation with somebody over something like that. After he had a couple teasers like that, I lost it, and I pushed him aside to get what I needed to get. And he used his elbow to punch me in the face. And for a long time after that, I didn't want to come here, and then we locked down anyway. And so for 2 years, I didn't come here. Now, I like to think I'm immune from that, but these things often happen in different angles, right? I'll probably never get the same set of circumstances that I got 3 years ago, but they come in different angles, right? One time when I was living in Phoenix, I was getting ready to go to my favorite restaurant. I was kind of treating myself. I had a difficult work situation that day, a very long day, and I was telling myself after work I'm going to go to this restaurant. And so I finally get off work, and the restaurant's about a 10-mile drive away. But there was a lot of construction as I was getting onto the big highway. And so there was a 15-minute delay just to get onto that big I-10 highway. And by the time I got onto the highway, I completely lost it, and I was racing 80 miles an hour, if I remember correctly. I usually don't even like to go all that fast. Usually, if the speed limit's 60, you can often see me going 55 to 60. And people were very annoyed at me. They honked their horn at me. This day, everybody was also honking at me because I was racing around them. Somehow I made it to the restaurant in one piece. At the beginning of the pandemic, the very first day of the pandemic, I was a mess because I was trying to look for my favorite kielbasa sausages, and not surprisingly, all the stores are sold out. So you can see eating attacks come in all sorts of angles, right? And oftentimes I get over-prepared for one or two sets of circumstances that could happen, and I totally forget another one. Like earlier today, the reason I thought of this story was something funny today. So when I go to the hot food buffet these days, I like to have something to fidget with, just in case of I have to wait for somebody, you know, because watching somebody thinking that they're about to be done and then realizing they're not, that's the most painful thing in the world. You know, have you ever tried to call a call center and the music, elevator music's playing, the music stops, but instead of a human coming on board, it's a machine saying that your call is very important to us. I mean, just play the music in that case, right? Or sometimes a human gets on and says, I'm still transferring you. Like, why bother? And it feels like that when I'm watching. So I learned to have something to fidget with. And so earlier today, the guy in front of me was going real slow again. I started to remember what happened 3 years ago, and I got out my phone to make a few prank calls and things like that. And it turned out that he was long gone. I didn't even notice, and the guy behind me was like, excuse me. And you get the idea. They come in all sorts of angles. Now, right now in 2022, I think technically we could travel again to Taiwan, but I've been having some reservations about flying again because I've heard all these stories about air rage, and I think about all these food attack benders that I had. I don't want to be having one of these on an airplane or at an airport, given how much anxiety there already is. Right now, I'm also trying to quit masturbating, and unfortunately, urges to masturbate sometimes do come up in those kind of flavors as well. Anyway, I thought I would point out why intermittent fasting is so important to me and what has gone wrong in the past. I was going down a very dangerous trajectory just 3 years ago, and thank God I've started to turn it around. But I still fear for myself that I'm going to mess up one of these days. But had I kept going the trajectory I was going 3 years ago, not only would I be very overweight and have all sorts of health problems today, there's a good chance I would have gotten myself hurt, gotten into legal trouble, you name it, right? Lost a job or two. Anyway, thanks for watching.